Okay, hey, hi, hello, welcome to Did That Age Well? I'm your host, Molly Smith, and this is the podcast where we recap and review movies from the past, and we talk about how they hold up with Marty and Lindsey, my new friend. Hi! Listeners, you are just in for an absolute treat today. My new friend, Lindsey Benton from Live Laugh Denver, the owner of Live Laugh Denver?
Yep. Broker owner of Live Laugh Denver Real Estate Group.
We got a girl boss of Live Laugh Denver.
We have, yes.
Yes.
She's tired, but she is bossy. So we got that going for us.
Yeah, having energy is not a requirement for being a boss or bossy.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like bossiness goes up as energy goes down.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree. It's called delegating. You know,
Yes.
ever heard of it?
Mm-hmm.
Lindsey, how the heck are you?
I'm good. I'm super excited to
Good.
be here. I don't usually get to spend my afternoons talking about a movie that I love.
Gosh. Yeah, I know. How fun is this?
And with a queen.
Oh my God.
Queen of
Thank
copywriting.
you.
Like,
Oh my
I'm
God.
so pumped.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
good. I'm glad to be
Shout
here.
out to all copywriters everywhere.
Yes.
Lindsey, what is your history with Silence of the Lambs?
I was thinking about that when I was rewatching it this weekend. Like, when did I fall in love with it as a movie?
Right.
Because if somebody asks me what's your favorite movie, I answer Silence of the Lambs and Clueless.
Wow.
And that
also
is
incredible choices.
thank you.
If I didn't know you, which I mean I don't really know you that well, but no, if that was the first thing I knew about you, like, oh, her favorite movies are Silence of the Lambs and Clueless, I would say she's my girl.
Right?
Yeah.
Those are like good.
Yeah.
And I do think they've both held up decently, which is what we're going to talk about, right?
Yeah,
But
totally.
yeah, so I don't remember. All I know is I was young enough when I first watched it to think it was spit,
Okay. Yeah.
right?
So, yeah,
Mid?
probably pretty
Yeah. So I had to have been,
young, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like a mid, I don't know, what, 12 maybe?
12. Yeah.
Which, why the fuck was I
probably.
watching it at 12?
Girl, I don't know.
I blame my parents.
Yeah.
But yes. And then I mean, now I'm like a true crime. I love all of that.
Yes. Yeah, you were like a part of the generation that was influenced by this movie to be like true crime obsessed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, what do they call us? Armchair detectives or whatever. Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
Like an internet sleuth. Would you consider yourself like an internet sleuth, or are you more of like a are you into more like passive reception of the stories?
Nothing's passive about me.
Okay, great.
I would say that. We have a whole division called Live, Laugh, Investigate.
I'm obsessed with that. We love an investigator. We love a spy. On
Yes.
this podcast, we love women in spying.
Yes. We have to do all the proper due diligence.
We really do.
And, you know, as you mentioned, I am in real estate, so I have to be careful how I use the tools that are given to me by having my license. And safety first.
And safety first.
Safety
For
first.
you and for all the girls.
Correct.
Yes.
Everyone knows all I need is a first and a last. And if you
Same
don't
thing.
have a
Sometimes
last.
if I don't even need a last.
Exactly. If I can get something on an industry or, you know, LinkedIn.
Exactly. Oh my God. LinkedIn is the best way to find anybody
100%.
that you're trying to find. I have tracked down people far and wide on LinkedIn using just a first name and knowing like, oh, he worked in tech.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which who hasn't?
Sam, who worked in tech, I'll find you.
Boom.
I'll
Yes.
find you.
Yes. Yes. Heaven forbid I know your college.
Yeah.
You are going down.
Oh my
I can
God.
find you so fast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to know everyone in your family.
Yes.
I'm going to know where you and your girlfriend went on vacation
Yes.
in 2008.
All the things.
I will get the info.
Definitely going to know how you're registered to vote.
Oh,
That's
girl.
out there. That's
I
out
have
there.
One time I went on a date with a guy who was kind of giving me like Republican vibes.
Oh.
He was kind of giving young Republican, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And
Like he thinks he's rich enough and he's not. So that's like old Republicans now too. But anyways, keep going.
Yeah. So we had a first date and it was like below average, right? Mm-hmm. And so, and I kind of just got the ick from him. Can't really put my finger on it, but I was like, I just need to know if my suspicion is correct, if this person is actually a Republican, as I suspect. So what I did, all I knew was his first name, and I knew where his little sister went to college. And I knew, because he had said, oh, my sister, she was a golfer at so-and-so college. So I went to that college's
Oh my gosh, yes.
athletic website, found the girl that looked most like him so that I could figure out his last name,
God, yes.
looked at the voter registration, and what do you know? I was right.
Republican.
Yep.
Ugh. Well.
Yeah. And then he actually, I decided I didn't want to see him anymore. And I told him that, and he didn't take it very well.
Right.
And he added me on every social media platform, including LinkedIn. He used my tool as a weapon.
No, he weaponized
LinkedIn.
it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Can you believe that?
Yes.
Yeah. I absolutely. Yeah, I know it is. It seems like a story tale as old as time.
Tale as old as time. What I say is, if you don't believe in my right to my own bodily autonomy, there's no way you're getting me off. Right? Like they are so confused.
Yeah.
They're the same one that's like how, like, what was the question? Like, how do you pee with a tampon in or something like that? Right? Like that is the level of, anatomy that they understand. So you cannot
So there's not going to be, there's no room in this bed.
No, there's no room.
No.
Correct.
No.
Yeah. Mediocrity across the board.
100%. So yeah.
So now we've gotten rid of any of those listeners.
Yeah.
Did we have any?
Probably not.
Women and opinions and voting.
I know. My listeners are like 70% women, and I'm gonna guess of the remaining 30 that probably all are gay.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Probably 100%.
Gays and gals. Got it.
It's the girls, gays, and theys here on Did That Age Well.
Right.
And if you're a straight man, thank you for listening.
Yes, we always appreciate your allyship.
Yes, thank you for your
thing.
allyship, just like our friend Marty. The dog. Yep.
Oh,
Oh, what a sweet boy. Okay, so you watched this movie when you were probably a little bit too young.
Right.
But it formed who you are. True crime girly.
Yes.
Love that. A real investigator. Love that as well. What was it like for you just rewatching it this time? Overall impressions.
I really liked it still.
Yeah.
Like it's still such a good movie.
It's still so scary.
It's so scary. And like, you know, when you think about technology and how much like just the camera angles and all of that, it still feels like you can tell it's dated, but you also can't.
Yeah, there's a lot about it that I think was really ahead of its time. I think both in terms of just like the way that it's filmed, but also just the way that this story is constructed and the way in which this female lead was actually a complex character. I feel like she did the investigation so that Olivia Benson could solve the case. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes.
I do.
Yeah.
I do think, though, to the complexity piece, I would say it was like a simplified complexity. It's like, oh, shocker, her dad died. Like, we know. Like, we knew that was going to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You knew that the last thing that her boss was going to say to her was, your dad would have been proud of you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That is
so there was a little bit, but for the time.
For the time.
So in that sense, it's not like it's bad. It's just that it was very basic. It feels like it's a very basic complexity.
Yeah. No,
there was so much Psych 101 about it.
I totally get what you mean. I feel like, yes, if I were to compare this, first of all, another Jodie Foster classic in the making, the new HBO True Detective season, I feel like shows like that have a lot more complexity to these female characters. However, I think that we still see like little bits of Clarice and that storytelling in all of these other lead women crime drama.
Totally.
Leads.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I mean, she broke the mold in that sense for sure.
Totally.
And I think that when looking at it that way now, it wasn't as basic or cheesy or simple as it very much could have been. So to your point, like it was very complex for its time, and it still has complexities to this day.
Yes.
But I feel like we're a little more subtle at times. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah.
Like when he's like, tell me about your dad or whatever. It's tell me about yourself. Like, I'm like, oh, Jesus, come on. Yeah. I know.
Hi, Marty.
She has daddy issues of some sort. We get it. Everyone does.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course she does. So I guess, okay. kind of going into the pop culture impact, obviously we've talked a little bit about how this definitely influenced you in your true crime interest. I feel like the serial killer obsession in pop culture, I think, can be really credited to this movie. For better or for worse, Hannibal Lecter is the guy.
Yes, he was the first A-list.
He was the first A-list
serial killer.
Yes.
And like now I guess we try not to give them names, right? Because the notoriety is like part of the motivation.
Right.
But
people are still out here doing it all the time, of course.
Oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
And like just how fucked up it was. And that it was brought in from true serial killers, right?
God,
Wasn't it Ed Gein who wanted to wear his
Yeah.
victims? And I mean, that piece of it, I mean, shut the fuck up.
I know. Yeah, it was
like, I'm going to sew together what the fuck. And then when he's wearing the wig, the hair,
yeah.
Yeah. It gets so weird. And it's such a level.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think that is like kind of how it got on an arch of like, how can I be the weirdest serial killer, right?
For sure.
And now because we're learning as we go with
yes,
all of the fucked up shit in our society, like with mass shooters too. It's like, stop giving them credit, like the whole idea, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like, but it's like the fact that it was based in, I remember researching that, like what, on the computer at school or something? Like maybe we had a PC? I don't even know.
There was no like parental controls or like anything like that, of course.
Yeah, because when did it come out? 96? I remember.
91.
91. Okay, yeah, so I was 9. So it would have been after, so I had to have been, I mean, I was a little bit older. My parents, I bet I watched it at a sleepover.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Yeah, totally. Someone was like, there's a really scary movie, but it's not scary because there's not ghosts.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I watched Pretty Woman the first time too. And I was naive enough. Like I thought when she pulled the condoms out of her boot that it was candy.
Oh.
So like there was some beautiful naivety about me at one point in my life. And I think it broke at 15. So it has to all be before then.
Yeah. So you thinking that it was spit. Mm-hmm. So that means, I was definitely pre 15 years old.
Yeah. And I was not a slutty child.
I believe
Or
you.
a slutty high schooler. That was until I was a consenting adult.
It wasn't until later.
It wasn't until later. Yeah. We don't need to talk about it.
And here we are today.
And here we are today. We've made it here.
Yep.
Feeling pretty good about ourselves. Feeling real good about our sexual health too.
Yes, we are.
So
everyone, get tested.
Hey, Denver.
Hey, Denver.
Shout them out.
Yeah. Shout out Miriam Moreno. Because she works for Hey Denver, not because she has an STD, everybody. That I know.
Perfect.
I mean, I don't know.
Clarification. And if she does, that's okay.
And if she does, it's okay.
It's okay.
Most are treatable. It's
exactly.
Okay.
And if they're not, it's about suppression.
Exactly. It's
and we're making strides. And I love that for us.
Yes, I love that for us. And the stigma. Okay, I have a question for you. Do you think that this is a cops or heroes story? This is a question that I always ask myself and my guests whenever like the protagonist is in the FBI or is just like a beat cop or anything when there's like detectives involved.
No, I don't think this is a cops or heroes story.
Okay.
I think it makes the cops look pretty dumb in a lot of cases on this one.
Truly, everyone but her looks kind of bad.
I know, especially the ones that get when he gets out of the birdcage.
Right.
Those two look like total dildos. Like they did not even like who watching that again. I was like, you would never. Yeah. I would never like just go in. The other one goes in. We're not even paying attention. Yeah. Like you're not even on alert. You think you're just going to give him handcuffs? Yeah. He eats people's faces.
That was pretty wild that they thought that was going to go well.
Yes. But speaking of cops.
Okay.
Chris Isaac.
Oh, yeah.
I mean. Epic. Epic cameo.
An absolute epic cameo.
Yes.
I'm a sucker for cameos. I really am.
I am too. And I'm a sucker for that song. Mm-hmm. Always makes me want to dry hump a little bit. Just a little.
Yeah. She watched Silence of the Lambs and she thought, I want to dry hump a little bit.
I want to dry hump a little bit. Nope. That wasn't that direct.
We're not going to clip that out.
No, we can leave it in, but it wasn't that direct. I want you to know that. It was, Chris Isaac. I forgot he's a cameo in this. That's so funny. His song, makes me want to dry hump. Yeah. So it was a transitive property.
There was A, B to C to D.
Correct. Yeah. Correct, so it wasn't A to D. Yeah, that's important. I think.
And I think that's important for the listeners to know.
I do too.
Okay, so when this movie started, the first thing that I thought was, holy shit, Jodie Foster is just so cool. She is just so cool. She always has been. She always will be. She is just, I think, when you see her going through that obstacle course, I thought, this woman can do anything.
Oh my God. So much body image shit with it, right? Or like body strength. I was like, I remember as a kid being like, I wish I could climb a rope. You know, like
you're getting ready for the presidential fitness test and you're like, if only I was.
All I could do was stretch.
Yeah. The stretch.
That's the only one I could do well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, she's so athletic. But I think what's interesting is that when she's running back, she was running on her own. And then all the men are training together.
Right.
So I was like, do the girls have to just do their own runs? Like I was kind of like.
Probably because, you know, with their boobies bouncing up and down, they're going to distract the men, you know?
Oh my God, right. Probably. And Jodie Foster doesn't even have big titties.
I know.
She doesn't even have to double up on the sports bra.
Not as
and
if.
So much sweat.
I know. And she was wearing 2 layers.
I know.
I was like
she was getting ready for a wrestling meet. Or something like that, you know?
Well, I mean, listen, anything could happen in her job.
Absolutely. Girl. And then she's like, yeah, for sure. I'll just jog on in there. I'm going to jog in to see my dad roll.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, totally.
I hope I can impress him.
And then, of course, she impresses everybody.
She is a badass, though. I completely agree. And I haven't, full disclosure, I have not watched True Detective this season, so I need to get my shit together, it sounds like.
That is okay. She is an even more complex character, which, I mean, as we've said, she is complex in this movie. Not as complex as she could be. True Detective will scratch that itch for you.
Did she create the predictable complexity? Like, did her role in Silence of the Lambs create the predictable complexity? Because sometimes I find, and this is when I just turn on reality TV podcasts, and you know I love your podcast because it's like getting coffee with a bestie and talking about a movie, right? It's my fave.
Yeah.
But I turn on something different that's a little bit lighter because sometimes, you know how they say like porn desensitizes?
Yeah.
Right? And so like kids shouldn't watch it.
Right.
Or whatever, like 19-year-olds or something, because then they like think they need to like murder somebody to get off or something, right?
Right.
So I feel like it's kind of gotten that way with true crime too, where it's like, is it weird enough?
Right. Yeah.
Which, so at the time, this movie was so shocking. And then now it's like, well, of course he ate his victims.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, of course he's going to wear a skin suit.
Oh my God. That one still gets me though. That part does.
Girl.
But
yeah.
When it first, I mean, think about the first time we watched it.
Oh, yeah.
Is he okay?
Oh, I love him.
Okay.
I love him.
We're talking about Marty. He does not always cozy up like this.
No, I feel honored.
You've got vibes. He's vibing ya.
I like you.
That's good. He might be looking for a new home. We don't know yet. I'm kidding.
Kidding. We'll keep
Kidding.
you. We'll keep you. Just behave. Okay. Sorry, I got kind of distracted by his beautiful look in his eye. Just the one. Okay, so Scott Glenn as Jack Crawford, her boss. He's like, look, go see Hannibal. It's gonna be fruitless. You're going on an errand for me, basically. And he's like, just don't tell him anything about yourself, because in the most subtle foreshadowing, believe me, you don't want Hannibal Lecter inside your head. And then that guy, Dr. Frederick Chilton, he's like a warden, right? I never really got clear on like, what is his job title?
I think he's running a privatized prison.
Okay.
Because this would have been post-Reagan. So prisons were private.
Yeah.
For profit. We're here for it.
He is, I mean, immediately.
Gross. Yes.
I'm like, cut to the serial killer, please, because this guy is so creepy.
Well, I thought for sure he was gonna like he has rapist vibes.
Yes.
Sexual predator at minimum.
Yes.
Yeah.
And jealousy does not look good on him.
Oh my God.
I'll say that.
When he's like, you could have told me sooner so I didn't have to walk all this way or whatever. Like, shut up, creep. Yeah.
But her first meeting with Hannibal, I mean, okay, Anthony Hopkins, his eye contact.
I know.
Oh my God.
He's so intense.
He is so intense. It is, I mean, it's not like I'm splitting the atom here when I say that performance is chilling.
Yeah.
Chilling.
And also I smiled from ear to ear as soon as he came on screen because I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. It's
We're
so
here.
good. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. And I love that he just absolutely reads her for being poor.
I know. Oh my God, right.
He's like, I've got your number.
He's like, bitch, I see those pearl earrings and we know they're fake. That was another thing I noticed.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is she constantly wearing pearl earrings?
I don't know. I think
That's so weird.
maybe because she's like, I'm a sensible woman.
I think it's like, I think it's supposed to symbolize some level of innocence.
Oh.
That was my theory on them.
I see. That's a really good theory.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I took one film studies class in college. I mean, not to intimidate you or anything, but
oh my God.
you know, 20 years ago, I took one course and I showed up for at least 6 of the classes.
Wow. Oh
So,
my God. Well,
yeah,
I'm a little intimidated over here.
we are.
Yikes, here we are.
It was on horror films.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Okay. I can't believe I didn't ask. Are you like a big horror film person? Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I would say this movie probably activated that a bit. And then my mom and I both like horror films.
Oh,
and so
that's
it's been a
cool.
connector for us this whole, always.
Wow. My God. Cute.
Yeah, it's super cute. I know my mom
Adorable.
and I are both a little bit fucked up.
I know. I love that.
And we also have like very warped senses of humor. But yeah, every time she comes to visit and she doesn't bring my dad, we're like, oh, thank God, so we can watch horror movies. Because Big Raj just likes to watch like comedy or westerns.
Oh,
no one wants
so
that.
Basic.
I know, right? So, anyways, yeah, definitely like triggered that. And then, I mean, I watched all the others, like Hannibal,
Of course.
Red Dragon. So
Yeah.
good. Oh my God, so good.
We need to talk about how and this could be a tangent that leads us to the entire length of this podcast, but I will try to keep it not that way. They are talking about Buffalo Bill, and this is the first time that they introduced the cross-dressing of it all. And Hannibal's like, look, garden variety, manic depressive, not transgender. They don't use the nice words.
Right.
But for the purposes of this podcast, we're going to use the nice words. He's like, look, it's just his first attempt at transformation. And they make a point in this movie to like explicitly say, oh yeah, there's no connection between violence and like,
yes.
And like gender identity or like
gender transformation.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like, that's not the part that people are going to remember from this movie. They're not going to remember Clarice saying that to Hannibal, or for him to like explicitly say like, no, this person is not trans. But the way in which we see Buffalo Bill is, it's like he wants to be a woman so bad that he takes their skin and wears it.
Yeah.
That's the message that we get as an audience. Like, we're getting the message that there is something linked. There's like this psychopathology linked to cross-dressing.
Right.
And so that part is like, I think the way it lacks complexity for, I guess, like transness is not great.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I think I would say it was the first I really like learned about. Like that movie was the first I probably watched.
Yeah.
A trans character.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Or like a trans attempt, right?
Right.
I think though it's like the same. Like, I mean, the Catholic Church, it's like, I mean, do we want to go there? Jesus.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's like, oh, well, he's gay, so he's a pedophile. I was like, nope. Those aren't the same. These aren't the same, right? Yeah. And so I think it's the same in this. And I think they're trying to do that.
Yeah.
But their actions are speaking louder than their words.
Exactly. They're like, the movie is self-aware enough that they're like, okay, well, we don't want people to take this message and run with it. But it's like, but he still is cross-dressing and wearing women's skin because he wants to allegedly be a woman. But then also at the same time, they're like, but he doesn't actually.
Yes.
Which is confusing too. Like Hannibal says, the truth is a lot more disturbing. I'm like, but what is it?
That's interesting. What was the truth?
Yeah.
Did he hate women? No.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think so.
Most
because
men
he
do.
because he like killed them
A
and wore
little
their
bit.
skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
It's I think though at that point, like when you're full on psychopath, sociopath, we're not diagnosing here, I know, right?
I mean,
but clearly. it's not linear at all, right? His gender, his desires are not. I know he does that.
No, it's so
Marty's
cute.
bringing the anxiety with his licking everybody. 'Cause he's like, this is weird.
Marty's like, don't mess this up, you guys. This is a very complex issue.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God, he's so ridiculous.
I love him.
I kind of do. But yeah, I think their point is saying like, this is not causation. This is correlation, right?
Right. And also like when they made the movie, they said in response to like some of the criticism that he wasn't supposed to be gay or trans, but someone who was just like profoundly damaged,
right,
seeking transformation in any way possible. It's like, okay, yeah, but
he tucked his penis.
But he tucked. So it's like,
I
okay,
mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
But eventually, so like in response, I think that like the director was really sad and like took it very personally when people were like, oh, this is not cool,
right,
that you portrayed people this way. But like honestly, most of the criticism was coming from like the gay community, and like the criticism was of like homophobia. They're like, oh, this is a person who's this man who fits these different like gay stereotypes is monster. But now I think that there's like a little bit more nuance in that criticism. But eventually the director did, in like 2014, he was like, look, that was not cool.
Okay.
He said, actually,
let
me read the quote.
Yeah.
He said, when the film was accused of continuing a history of stereotypical negative portrayals of gay characters, that was a wake-up call for me as a filmmaker and as a person. And then he said he admitted the condemnations of the portrayal of Buffalo Bill were a result of his directorial failing. And he he later went on to direct Philadelphia, which like some people think that he did that as like a way to
like a penance.
Yeah, which I think is interesting. I think maybe yes, maybe no.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that like it was truly one of those things where like he just didn't realize.
Yeah, I think part of it for me, where I don't feel like I can speak much on this, is times have changed, and I understand that.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what the conversation was about. I mean, this was when people were saying that, oh my God, Halloween, what's her name?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Thank you. Was born with both parts. Like this was during those days, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like my gut would say, I feel like he did the best he could with what we knew at the time.
Yeah.
And that it was complex, and that it was a daring issue. I mean,
yeah,
it was a big thing to take on.
Yeah.
And I don't think he did it with ill intent, but also intent and impact are very different, as we know.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Like when I say like I think that genuinely he just like didn't know, that's not to say that like people weren't harmed by this portrayal.
Correct.
However, I think that there is something to be said for some of the attempts to right that wrong.
Yes. And
also he was, I mean, like this was inspired by an actual person who like,
right. True.
Yeah.
No, because he wanted to wear his mom's skin, right? Wasn't that Ed Gein? Yeah. Ooh. No, for sure. I think to your point, like that's always been my thing with anything cancel culture is I'm like, if somebody will go back and own, like, I did say those things and now I'm doing better. Like I do better. I know better. I do better. Like if anyone will take that approach, like I'm not big on cancel culture.
Yeah.
If people take the time to like acknowledge, learn,
and do better
and like even like speak out about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, I think I don't know.
Yeah.
If that even makes sense, but
it does make sense.
I mean, it gets us to the line of the movie.
Say it.
I'd fuck me. Would you fuck me? No, it's opposite. I fucked it up.
Fuck me.
No, it's would you
fuck me?
Oh, that's right.
I'd fuck me. I'd fuck me so hard. Right? Isn't that the line?
Yes. Oh. And they're so zoomed in. I mean, the director is brilliant.
Okay. You know what is also brilliant is that scene at the very end when they're going through like there's so many doorways in that basement. Holy shit. It's just filled with doors. And we're looking at Clarice through the night vision goggles. Girl.
So good. It's one of the best scenes ever.
It is. It is like
terrifying.
It is one of the most terrifying things. And all it is just like looking at this woman through night goggles. But like because we're looking at her from his point of view and like the hunting and the prey.
Yes. Ooh. But also we skipped past the part where she's at the door and the FBI's at the door.
Oh my God.
Or the SWAT team's at the door in Chicago and then it's wrong.
And then they're at the wrong house.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That part too gets me every time.
I know. And oh my God, you know what part also gets me? Okay, now we can just go back and forth and say, you know what part gets me?
Okay, good. Okay, got it.
You know what part gets me is when Hannibal is wearing the face.
Oh my gosh.
When you think, oh, it's that guy. Oh no.
No.
It's Hannibal.
I know. And watching it again, I remembered that.
Yeah.
But then I had to think, when did I realize that? Like,
right.
I bet the first time watching it, I had no clue. I probably thought he was the dead one on the top of the elevator.
Yeah.
It's like watching redressed him. That's insane.
It's like watching, at sporting events where they have that like, which basketball, like you have to keep track. It was like that, but with people's bodies and their faces.
Yes. It was like Face Off before its time.
It was Face Off before its time. Oh my God.
Awful movie.
Speaking of Face Off, I just watched the episode of Breaking Bad, Face Off, the finale of season 4 for the very first time.
I've never watched Breaking Bad. I know.
That's okay. I only started watching it like a few months ago. Anyway, not to spoil it too much, but someone's face does come off.
I mean,
yeah.
The laying on your face. I can't even imagine.
Oh my God. Yeah. He's
like, even when I'm at a spa and they like put the towel on, I'm always like, no.
You're like,
I just
give me a little. I need a
little more room. I need a little more room. Okay, here's the part that's always like, I can always picture it in my head.
Okay.
So I'm a thick lady. Mm-hmm. I've always been a thick lady.
Yeah.
And I'm sure when I watched it the first time, girl. Girls with curves deserve.
Girls with curves deserve.
The first time I watched it, I would have been like not a thick lady, but just a fat kid who's like sad,
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I gotta lose weight or someone's gonna murder me from the skin.
When he says, "Oh, size 14," and he like looks at that girl's clothes,
back.
I was like,
when he looks at her back, I remember thinking, like, I looked in the mirror, I was like, is that what my back looks like? Is someone gonna want to wear me? I better tighten it up. I wonder if that triggered my first bout of anorexia.
I mean, I would say
help.
it's not a trigger.
Yep. No, it was the presidential fitness test. I think I did that.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Actually, I think it was
one and the same.
The social pressure to climb a rope
or get fat tested in front of everybody.
Oh my God, the presidential fitness test. Come on.
I know. I could go. It's actually. I went on a rant about it on Instagram.
Yeah.
And called out my actual gym teacher.
Good. Did you at them?
No, I don't think he's on it. He's old. I mean, he's older. But his daughter-in-law follows me. Oh and God. She's like, I showed this to Bob and laughed so hard. I was like, good. Tell that motherfucker.
Good. Learn better, do better. Bob.
Yes. But no, seriously, every time he like looks at the 14, he like opens it up and looks at her back and he like has a boner about it, literally, right? Yeah. Like, and I'm like, oh God, someone's going to want to wear your skin. You have extra skin.
Yeah.
So that's always something I think of. And every time I feel fat, I'm like, I picture her back. I picture it. And it's like, oh my God. So coming up to that part, watching it again, I was like, oh, here's the part. Here's the part I can visualize.
Yep. Here's the part where we put it all together that he likes thick girls because
of their
skin.
I know. Guess what? They won't want to wear you if you don't lose weight. So I was way off.
Yeah.
So I would have been captured. I think I also had thoughts of that, of like, I wonder if how quickly she'll lose weight living in that hole. Oh, man, the 90s were fun.
Oh, the 90s.
Super fun, Marty.
Yeah, really fun, Marty. You didn't have to know. Don't worry.
But
you are
also
an
that
ally.
scene, like what? I know that she like kind of pretended to struggle, but like, why
Yeah.
would you get in?
The car.
Yes, the back of the
know.
van.
I know. That was tough.
There's a little bit, yeah, but that's how it happens.
It's how it happens.
You make
Someone's like,
one slip
will
of
you
judgment.
will you do a nice thing for me?
Yep.
And
And
she's
then
like, of
someone's
course
wearing
I'll
your
do
skin.
a nice thing.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you're down in the hole with Precious.
Yep.
Yep.
I know that she needed to be thick for the role. I don't know why she had to have curly bangs. I felt targeted by that too.
That was also a personal attack.
It felt like a personal attack. I was like, none of us thought that was a good idea. Like, why would
Yeah. Why do
she
they have to do
has a
that?
mom who is in politics.
Yeah. That
Straighten her bangs.
someone should have intervened.
Yes.
Professionally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
There was a lot. Yeah. A lot to unpack there.
Yeah. But it was like, okay, so the whole thick girl thing, part of me is like, okay, did we really need that in the movie? Did it really need to be a part of his like hunting process? Like, I understand that like every serial killer has their type, you know, for like their different reasons. Like, oh, I kill brunettes because a brunette was mean to me or
Right,
whatever.
right.
Or like, I need a thick girl because I need to skin
Wear
her
her
and wear
skin.
her
Yeah,
skin.
yeah.
But it really just opened the door for a lot of like further dehumanizing these women who were already being dehumanized, you know? And it's like, yeah, Clarice saw them as real people, but when Hannibal's like, oh yeah, tell me, Miss West Virginia, was she a big girl or whatever?
Yes. Yes.
I was
You
like,
know, Hannibal's tiny, right? Anthony Hopkins is a
Yeah,
tiny
a little-
adult.
yeah, totally.
Man, yeah.
so it's kind of like,
No, you're right. It
okay.
was like salt in the wound, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because he was like, it was almost like the way that a lot of times sex workers get treated.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, but she's a thick girl.
But
so
she's
she's a
big, so-
big girl. Isn't that what he said? Yeah, big, right?
Yeah.
Tell
Wait,
me.
I did write it down.
gosh.
It
That's
was
amazing.
Let's see. Tell me, Miss West Virginia, was she a large girl?
Oh my God. A large girl.
A large girl.
I mean, to be fair,
Yeah.
I think a lot of times serial killers like pick out a fixation.
Sure.
And in Buffalo Bill's defense,
Yeah.
because let's give everyone a shot here. It was function. They had to lose the weight for him to be able to sew the skin.
Yeah.
So in this case, it was out of necessity.
Right. It wasn't just, you know, American beauty standards.
It
or
was
whatever.
not just.
It was not
exactly. It was
just.
function too.
Yeah.
I think that's something to keep in mind.
And we should all be keeping that in mind.
Yeah.
Okay. The boss, Jack Crawford.
Yeah.
So Clarice's boss, who like is kind of an ally, kind of not. I would say mostly not. Like, he's a mentor to her, and like you can tell that he actually does care about her.
Sure.
But like,
yeah.
when he's trying to fit in with the old boys club, and later he's like, when he says like, oh, let's not talk about this in front of a woman or like mixed company. Because I guess he felt like he had to.
Yeah.
But then later he's like, oh yeah, that bothered you, didn't it? And
Yes.
she's like, yeah.
He
It
tried to
does,
say it didn't
obviously.
matter.
Yeah. And she's like, cops look at you to see how to act. It matters.
It
And I say that
matters.
to all men in management. Well, just in the world, but especially if you are a manager.
Yeah.
It matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're clinging at the rungs of middle management and still haven't had to do shit for your life, it matters.
It matters.
We have to try so much harder. No, I mean, I wrote that part down too. I think he had good intentions, but also, is it me or does he also look like he's from the 1920s?
He looked like he was in the wrong movie.
Right. Like, I
Yeah.
was like, every time I was like, is this centuries ago? Like, what is this
Right.
person? Yeah.
He's the ghost, actually.
He
in this
is
movie.
the ghost
We
in
thought
this
there were
movie.
no ghosts in this movie. He is the ghost. Okay, you know what was also interesting was when Clarice brings the cocoon to her like bug guys.
Yeah.
And
Oh my God.
and one
Oh
of
my
them
gosh,
hits
yes.
on her, but somehow it's like less creepy than
Totally less
anyone else.
creepy. It
It's
was
like-
like adorable.
I know. I was like, oh, it's like kind of innocent, but she's still like, oh, you two? Come on.
I know.
But it was like, I don't know. Why was it so much less creepy? I think it's just because he was, I don't know, like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but it was just less creepy.
it was innocent.
It was innocent.
There was something innocent about it, like a schoolboy.
Yeah.
I almost like watching that again. I'm like, such a small part, but a high impact part.
Yeah.
Was there something left on the cutting room floor with him?
Right.
Like, was there more to his story or more to his like character that didn't end up making it? Because, yeah, it was like a pretty big scene. And yeah, to your point, like it is like he's being flirtatious, but not creepy. I do think because it's innocent.
Right.
He's a little kid playing. He's like a little kid playing with bugs. Who then is like, hey, teacher. Like, that's kind of the vibe.
Yeah, totally. Like, he has not seen a woman
naked ever. No.
And so he sees this cute gal come in. She just wants to know what kind of bug this is. And
he's pumped.
And he can't wait to share that with her.
He's been wanting a bug babe. You know, like he's wanting someone to share in this. And he's like, oh, maybe it's her.
Yeah.
No, I know. It is. It's cute. It's cute. And I think the reason it's okay is because it's innocent.
Yeah. Because he is not trying to like wield power over her.
That's it. Like, there's no power.
Something
he also has no power over her.
Exactly.
It's the opposite. I bet that's the difference too. Probably. Is she's the more powerful in that.
Yeah. That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
All right, I'm glad that we talked that out.
To the bottom of that one.
Good for us.
I know. It was creepy when they pull that out of the throat.
Ugh.
And like you can tell they're like, yeah. They're like holding the body down and pulling at the.
That was horrific, but she does prove that she's not like other girls because she can look at a dead body and be okay.
Yes.
They're all like, "Are you gonna be okay?" And she's like, "Yep," and she does it to prove herself.
And better.
Yeah.
And then also I was so confused with the white stuff when I was younger.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew what cocaine was yet, but I was just like, what does it do? But it's like, it's to keep the smell away, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So I was like, why wouldn't they just nose plug? And anyways.
Right. Yeah.
Instead they have like a Hitler mustache of whiteness.
Right.
It's very weird.
It was very odd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And gross.
And really gross.
That whole scene's gross.
The whole thing, I mean, really, obviously this whole movie is gross, but that part was especially gross. Like the moth stuff obviously is disgusting. Mm-hmm. Moths are gross. Living in moth season in Colorado.
Oh my gosh.
Girl. But
turns off my water heater every year. Don't worry. I got the right person to fix it this time. We're not going to do that again. But yeah, every time. Well, the moths are in the water heater. What the fuck? Like what?
What?
Regardless, yes, moths, gross.
Yeah, moths are gross.
Yep.
And they're in this little cocoon. It's like sort of goes back into this little motif of transformation. I mean, like transformation is gross.
Yeah.
And so it's like not that much of a stretch, I think, to be like, okay, we keep getting reminded through this movie, like transformation is kind of disgusting, and it adds another layer, I think, to this, like, oh, cross-dressing is icky, or
we should question it. Okay, I did not go that deep.
But here's the thing is that I don't know if I'm maybe overthinking this. I could be overthinking it.
I don't know. I mean, have you been in a film studies class?
I have, yeah.
Yeah,
but
so
only
you just
a couple.
go. I know, but you just go deep on shit. Then you don't ask questions like, is that what they intended?
Right. And I don't think that they were like specifically making a connection to the cross-dressing itself. I think that it just like it's another example of the way in which they portrayed transformation as like ugh.
Yeah.
And like pathologize it. And it's like one among many examples, one of which is this man wanting to be a woman allegedly, but actually he doesn't. I'm still unclear on it. You know?
Well, I think too this was at a time when we weren't really honoring, like we weren't differentiating between a drag queen and someone who's transgender.
Right.
Right? And I think that if I were to categorize Buffalo Bill's actions now, he wanted to dress as a woman, which is different than live as a woman.
Exactly.
And I don't think we were differentiating at that time.
Yeah.
Even though so many of our LGBTQ plus activists they would dress in different genders.
Yeah, totally.
But I don't think we differentiated the like living versus shows.
Yeah, totally.
And I got to be honest, this was the first time I watched it and I put together the transformation piece at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
so like with the mods.
Yeah.
Like I had never connected it until this time, and I was like, no.
Yeah. They're also, I think that
I was also high this time.
Oh, good.
So deeper thinker.
Deeper thinking.
Deeper thinker.
And also, I think, well, okay, another thing about the moths is that like any sort of like a bug thing is gross.
Yeah.
Like it's just gross.
Yeah.
So I think it just added to the creepiness of it, that it was just like, oh, there's a bug in there.
I know.
And he loves these bugs, you know? Someone, when one of her bug guys is like, oh, these are death's head moths. They're not from here. Like somebody is taking care of them. He said somebody loved them. This freak loves these moths.
So yeah, he had to like care for them differently.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he's not well. Do you think it's because his mom didn't nurse? No, I'm kidding.
Probably, yeah. Probably.
Well,
and I think it's her
the director
fault. And I
didn't
think
blame
that
the
we
parents,
should call her.
We should call her. Hey, Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
Is there a Buffalo Betty we could talk to?
Oh, God. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's... Oh, hey,
there
buddy.
it is.
Is there anything else we need to talk about?
I mean, we would be remiss not to mention the like...
Girl. That and when he's killing the guard and he like we're looking at Hannibal rather than like at the oh my God. Okay.
He's so creepy.
I mean, really everything he does is so creepy.
And stoically creepy.
Yes.
Right? Like it's the level of stoicism. So the noise though.
Yeah. And a nice Chianti.
I know. Okay, but now some vibrators sound that way.
Why did you have to say
I know.
that? Now,
well, because if I'm living with this, you have to live with this too.
And so do all of our listeners.
And so we talk about, I will talk with my girlfriends about if it's a Hannibal Lecter vibrator or the other kind.
Oh my God.
Which we often call the Morse code vibrators, where they have too many settings and all of a sudden there's one that's like,
it's like,
it's like no one wants that.
It's like, and what is the difference between and
exactly, yes.
It's like, and why do I need 6 different settings of like what is truly just random starts and stops?
I know. I'm like, you're just trying to show off with extra settings. We all know we like the not the zzz, but the zzz. And bonus if it has a little with it. I'm sorry if I ruined it for you.
You have just ruined. I'm sorry, but it's not your fault.
It's not my fault.
You were just trying to ease the burden of having to carry this yourself.
Exactly. And it's true. It's the same noise.
Oh my God, you're so right.
Right? I know.
Oh no.
It's so the same noise. And I was married, for a long time. And so I wasn't really buying a lot of new sex toys. And then, I mean, cause and effect, right?
Of course.
But,
girl.
So I'm like, when did those come out?
Right.
But then once I met the Hannibal Lecters of it all, I was like, well, my goodness, game changer.
Yeah.
They weren't like this in my 20s. I'll tell you that much.
There has been a lot of technological developments.
It's important.
In the past, 20 years.
So do you think normal people think of serial killers with their sex toys or no? You think that's a Lindsey thing?
You know what? I'm going to say, listeners, reach out.
Tell us. Let's do a poll.
Let's do it. We'll do an Instagram poll.
I mean, you can't unhear it once you hear it.
Oh my God.
I know. And it was one time I was trying to describe it to a friend who was like, I don't need that. I'm like, you need it. And I made the noise and I was like, oh God, it sounds the same as when I do Hannibal Lecter. I know.
I'm sorry that you had to realize that in real time.
In
as
real
you're
time.
like describing it to a friend.
Mm-hmm. And so then watching it was the first time I had watched it since I had that reality connection. And I was like, God, it's so funny. That
is fun.
That was his noise of eating people.
Yeah.
Which is, crazy.
With a side of fava beans.
I know.
And a nice
Chianti. But he says Chianti Chianti weird or something.
Yeah.
He says it different in the movie than we say it as we repeat it.
Yeah. It's one of those weird things. I noticed that too. I was like, he said it a little bit weird.
Or was it fava beans? What did he say weird? One of the two.
I think he says Chianti a little bit weird.
Okay. Chianti.
I think he says a Chianti.
Yes.
Chianti.
Maybe he's right.
Maybe we're wrong. Marty?
I can't imagine.
Tell us.
I can't imagine we've ever been wrong. Let me make sure I have some notes too, just in case.
Okay, good.
Make sure we didn't miss anything. Oh, yeah, we got a couple more things to cover.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about the quid pro quo.
Oh,
remember?
My God. We haven't even gotten to the namesake of the movie. The Silence of the Lambs.
Yes.
The Silence of the Lambs.
Of the Lambs.
Okay, here's the thing. First of all, I love that they fulfilled their promise of, like, in the foreshadowing in the first 3 minutes of the movie of saying, like, don't get inside of his head. Mm-hmm. That was very satisfying to see him get inside her head.
Mm-hmm.
But
rapidly.
Immediately. But you know what? She's a woman committed to the job. And I thought that she made the right decision. I think that she made the right decision telling him stuff about her. Would I recommend it in the real world to a professional? No, of course not.
Well, and the truth.
Yeah.
Don't you think you would just make up a lie?
Probably.
I've always thought that. I'm like, if she's FBI trained,
right,
she should be able to convincingly lie.
Right.
Even if he is who he is. I'm sure the argument would be there's no way he'd see through it.
Right, because...
But yeah, she like really showed her cards fast.
Yeah. I think that it's supposed to show the level of influence and power that he has, not necessarily like, oh, wow, she'll just crack right under pressure.
Right.
And I think maybe she was really like, I don't know, maybe she did feel a sense of like compassion for him, or like didn't feel afraid to share with him things about herself because she knew that it wasn't going to be like weaponized against her. Maybe, I don't know.
I think you'd have to expect for it to be weaponized against you with him,
but wouldn't you? Yeah,
I do feel like she found him like I don't want to say she admired him, right, but like she found him interesting to study. Yeah. And by providing him some information, she got something in return. The quid pro quo.
Mm-hmm. The quid pro quo.
I mean, I don't remember that being such a high impact term, right? Because then it became the quid pro quo.
Right.
Which we started talking about with Dumpty, right?
I think so.
Wasn't it like Trump did something with quid pro quo?
Yeah, the quid pro quo of the
It's so hard to remember all of his crimes.
Oh my God, I know.
But yeah, then I felt like it was like, it was not quid pro quo. It was quid pro quo. Like that whole thing. And I'm like, well, had anyone just referenced Silence of the Lambs, I probably would have understood it much faster is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Instead, I had to Google it. And no one, when I Googled it, was like, just think about Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, it's easy.
Because I could have jumped.
Something, get something.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And instead it was like Latin, whatever. And I was like, oh, too many words.
But you know what? She does successfully lie to him, though, when she lies about his transfer. So we know that she's capable of lying. So I guess the question is, like, why does she tell him the truth? Maybe because he's the first person that asked her, or, like, he's the first person that, like, kept asking questions and, like, prying to understand what happened to her, you know?
And to be fair, as humans, we do love to talk about ourselves.
Absolutely. I mean, why do you think I have a microphone in front of myself right now?
Girl, I love to be on a mic too. I get it. I get it. They say, I go to a lot of conferences, but the person who asks the most questions is the person in charge. Ooh.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah, and he definitely is the person in charge.
100%.
But also, I don't know, it's a
Phil
really
Jones.
interesting power dynamic. Shout out Phil Jones.
Phil Jones. Just a motivational speaker from England. Everybody have fun with that. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so what was I saying?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Marty,
the one who has the questions in control.
Yes.
He was definitely in control.
But at the same time, she was also in control because she lied to him about the transfer thing and was like, you know, able to manipulate him into giving her more information.
Yes.
But also it was because she's smarter than that prison guard that she was able to like put more pieces together. And I think that Hannibal knew that she was smarter and he had more respect for her because she was smart, that he gave her some of those clues that he knew other people wouldn't be able to solve.
Right.
So it's kind of like, yeah, the power dynamic between the two of them is absolutely fascinating. And also, like, he's in a literal cage and she's out of the cage, but you think about like the camera angles, like his entire face is in the frame. Like he is like overpowering that conversation.
Yes.
In like really like scary way.
Yes.
You know?
Well, in the end, when he's like, come here. And then he like tells her a couple things as she's leaving.
Oh my God. When he strokes her
Oh
finger.
gosh. When he's in the bird cage.
Oh my God. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh my God. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Yeah.
We've all had a creepy boss do that. Ladies, am I right?
Ladies, am I right? Anything else?
Okay,
Anything
yeah, I
else
have
that we
one
need
more
to
thing.
discuss? Yes.
I do.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about our victim.
Let's
Catherine
talk about our
Martin.
victim, Catherine.
She ends up being a cult leader on SVU. Do you remember that?
What?
Her story arcs 2 seasons.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So
I did not put it together that was the same person.
yeah, the curly bangs give it away.
The curly bangs. Yeah. I mean, look, she was not the only one to make that mistake.
She was not.
She was not.
I also had straight bangs with curly hair. Not a good move. So I don't think that you just don't get to have bangs when you have curls.
Yeah.
I've
seen it done.
I highly advise those episodes. They're really good. And I
Yeah.
remember thinking at the time, like, she looks so familiar. And then figuring out she's the victim in that, but not to give it away, but she has a different role in SVU.
Wow.
And Olivia Benson, which you mentioned earlier,
Of course.
full circle.
Of course.
Because that's who gets to the bottom of it.
Of course she does.
Because she is, yep.
Yep.
You see the point. You see
I
it
get the
all.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, those were the notes I felt like I had to cover.
No, and thank you for sharing that. That was
I
important.
did my homework.
She does her homework. And we respect that and we appreciate it. Before we wrap things up, I have a little game that I'd like to play.
Sure.
It's called Cancel or Callback.
Okay.
And this is where listeners send us trends from the past, and you and I have to discuss if this trend should be canceled forever.
Okay.
Or if it needs to be called back.
Okay.
Today we have been asked to discuss puka shell necklaces.
Oh, shit.
Cancel or callback?
I feel like there was this guy I made out with. It was the summer after my senior year, and he had a tongue ring. It was the first guy I ever made. Maybe the last.
my.
I don't feel like that was. So this is 2000, and yeah, just 2000. And that's who so in that case, I'd say call it back. He was an amazing maker outer on Kiowa Island, circa Lindsey, 18 or 17 years old. But in general, I think the vibe they come with is a no for me.
Here's what it reminds me of. Not like the puka shells of the past, but it reminds me of like Tom Sandoval, your reality TV person.
God,
right?
yes.
You know
yeah.
how he's been wearing like little kid jewelry?
Yes.
You know? He's been dressing like the Taylor Swift fans, you know?
I fucking hate him.
Feel like, oh my God. I feel like I could see Tom Sandoval wearing a puka shell necklace
100%.
way too easily. And that makes me feel like it's something that needs to be canceled.
I think it stays canceled. And I think we
Yeah.
need to leave some of those shells in the ocean. You know what I mean?
Honestly, we don't know what's down there. Maybe the puka shells are essential to the ecosystem
Exactly.
of the ocean. What am I, a marine biologist? I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I'm not.
But I would guess that they probably want to stay where they are.
Everything
Those
has its
shells.
own purpose.
Absolutely.
We don't need to go harvest them so guys can be douchebags. Right? That's ultimately what was happening.
Yeah.
This guy I made out with when I was 18 is just an exception to the rule.
He is, and that's the thing about rules is that there's always an exception.
Always an
to the rule.
exception.
You know what puka shell necklaces remind me of second to Tom Sandoval, which is funny because I don't think I've actually seen him in a puka shell necklace, but it just seems.
But
like,
you can picture it.
You know.
Yeah.
The
With his
second one
smirk.
is "Welcome to the OC, bitch."
Yes.
He, without even
Yep.
like knowing for sure that he was wearing a puka shell
Yeah.
necklace in that scene, I also know that he was, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And this guy was like a South Carolina guy
Oh.
because it was like off Charleston, I think. Kiowa Island. I don't know. I went with my friend in high school. Anyways, regardless, but same vibe, different coast.
Totally.
But like in hindsight, it's probably like there's probably some kind of predator correlation.
You think so?
He was lovely, but I'm just saying generally speaking.
Yeah. Like we said, exception to the
Exceptions
rule.
to the rules.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was wearing shorts that summer. It was a weird time. It must have been the only summer I wore shorts. It's a very weird time for everybody.
Yeah.
So who am I to say?
Who are we to say?
That's a good cancel or call it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a cancel
callback.
on it.
Yeah. I'm going to say cancel too. I don't think we need it.
I don't think we need it. Not with the friendship bracelet. You know, we've got so many other options now.
There are tons of other options. And so many things that are like nostalgic and vintage. Puka shell necklaces don't need to be a part of that. I think we've taken it far enough with the Y2K revival.
Yeah, enough's enough.
Enough's enough. And I say enough. Well, Lindsey, what a blast it was to talk about this movie with you.
You too.
Oh my gosh. Well, do you want to
be besties?
I knew it too. And Marty, thank you for being a lovely dog and for warming up to me. I do very much appreciate it. Lindsey, do you have anything that you want to shout out? Anything that you want to leave the listeners with? Any, like, if you want to, like, promote anything with Live Laugh Denver?
Sure.
What's going on?
Oh my gosh, I love to promote things. I would just say, you know, we met through Dude IDK Studios.
Yeah, shout out to Dude IDK.
Yeah, shout out to Dude IDK. And Live Laugh Denver is a sponsor. Laughs in our name. We should be fucking funny, right?
Yeah, duh.
And it's in the name because buying and selling real estate tends to be a little serious. And so we try to laugh a little bit. So I guess that one, let's shout out Dude IDK. I'll see you guys at the comedy shows. I'm here a lot. So check them out. And then two, don't be afraid to have conversations about money.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that is something that your listeners need to hear is don't be afraid to have conversations about money.
Yep.
If you're not having conversations about money, then the man is getting what they want. So revolt, let's talk about it.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I second that. What a perfect way to wrap up the pod. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time.
For sure. See you soon.
Bye.